Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Hellraisers. Now, what exactly is Hellraisers? Well, the brief description would be a top-down, twin-stick co-op shooter. Well, it's not necessarily co-op, you can play it offline as well, but its primary strength lies in co-op, so I have gotten someone to co-op this game with. Yes, we will... Why is he not on screen? He should be on screen. There we go, right. I did indeed get a friend over to play this game with me, and we recorded some footage for you guys. Obviously the audio is being recorded separately, but yeah, there you go. So, briefly about some of the sort of stuff you can modify in the game, as I'm showing it on camera now, and we'll talk about more of the gameplay elements as we get in. So, customization options are fairly limited. As far as the character is concerned, these are all the weapons you can unlock. You unlock them by beating more of the game, and, well, that's basically it. And here you have stratagems. These are different things you can deploy on the mission itself. So, like, kind of like power-ups, and these are perks, things that you start with. So, like, extra equipment, if you will. Right. So, what is the basic gameplay like? Well, it's this. You pick a campaign, there, you enter the helipod, there, as we've just done, more or less, if I've synced to the video and the audio right. And, yeah, basically, there you go. You have now a series of objectives that you need to complete on the ground. Word to the wise, I've played the Bugs campaign with my friend for about, I don't know, like 40 minutes, something like that. It was stupidly easy. It was the easiest thing ever. I've exclusively used the Constitution rifle with a bayonet because I wanted to be a 18th century footman or you know, infantry... what's the word for that? Like, line infantryman, right? There you go. And then wanted to roleplay as such. We then got over to the right side of the game, as it were, in the cyborgs, and got our asses promptly handed to us a few times. Mind you, this mission is classified as very easy, so... yeah, the game is not exactly easy, although, like I said, for the first 40 minutes to an hour, you get the sense that this is the easiest thing ever, and that it's completely boring, but give it time. At any rate, or at least that was my experience with the Bugs campaign. These guys, however, are very different. They can shoot stuff at you, they have missiles, they have flamethrowers, there's more of them. I imagine the Bugs later on get more difficult as well. I suppose they swarm you more, there's more of them, probably something along those lines. But yeah, at any rate, that's neither here nor there. So this is, I mean, basically what you see is what you get. The only thing that will vary in pretty much the entire game are the missions that you need to do and the terrain. So some planets are very cold, some planets are very hot, some planets are very foresty and flora-like, and some are rather desolate. So the environment does, by the way, change and vary quite a bit. And not just the visually, like, okay, this is a volcanic planet sort of thing. There's rocks everywhere and it's all sort of grey and there's ash and dead trees and all that. Fair enough, that's sort of aesthetic visual part, but it also, in terms of the features of the map as well, the map layouts will be very, very different based on where you are, and there are also certain hazards on the map that you need to pay attention to. So some will have minefields that have been laid, others will have, like this one has a bunch of mini volcanoes that sort of spew lava at the path that you're going. And stuff like that. So yeah, there's quite a bit of variety in that, and I like sort of this, what we had here, sort of like a rotational thing. I'll shoot, and then there's the volcano. I'll shoot, then he'll reload, and I think one of us nearly died. I actually don't remember which one of us is which. I think I'm currently controlling Juggernaut #0. I'm pretty sure that's me, because I don't think I had that laser shotgun. But yeah, at any rate, this is, what, with like 12, was it 10 rounds or 20 rounds, something like that, and the pistol is going to be somewhat interesting. Alright. Let's get my comrade back up. Anyway, So yeah, that's as far as the sort of basic gameplay premise and element and all of that is concerned. There you go. You have 2 campaigns, like I mentioned. Although there is some sort of other space in the campaign map, so maybe you unlock something later down the line. There's sort of like a few extra missions or something, but the vast majority of the game you're going to be fighting either bugs or these cyborgs, and they play rather differently. So, the weapons you saw, and there is a pretty damn big variety to them, or big variety, there's a pretty damn vast variety to them. Vast variety? There is a vast variety of weapons, let's put it like that, and not overcomplicate things for no reason. As far as power-ups are concerned, and that's sort of the thing that you call up here when you can hold... It's control on the keyboard, it's something else on the Xbox 360 controller, or whichever controller you're using. It's... You call various different things in, so you can call in weapons, ammunition, which is very, very useful for longer missions, airstrikes, which I really haven't found a use for. I think they're going to be really powerful when you fight stationary targets, and like bosses and stuff like that. But for general purpose stuff like this, they don't seem to be all that useful, because it takes a bit of practice, a bit of time, and a bit of focus to get the airstrike down. So, yeah, it's a little bit, you know, iffy. But at any rate, where were we with this? Oh, God, don't. At this point, I'm trying to explain to him that you cannot aim with this thing and move at the same time, because it's a heavy weapon. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening, or we're figuring that out as we go along. At any rate, the MGs are phenomenal. Truly, truly phenomenal weapons. And his controller did disconnect a couple of times. I think I'm running out of batteries, so that's... there's a little bit of a sort of a break in the pacing here, is what I'm trying to get at, and tell you why. But right, what about the enemy variety? Let's talk about a little bit about the game itself, and I don't want to say criticism of it, but you know, at this point I'm AFK for some reason. I think I'm getting. So I'm going to be brutally honest. I think I went to get a beer, or we were drinking cider actually. Whatever. I think I went to get one. What I meant to say was I think I went to get tactical supplies for the continuation of the mission. I think that's what happened at any rate. Enemy variety. Well, there is enemy variety, quite a bit. Like I said, 2 different campaigns, but on those different campaigns you will encounter various life forms. And at the very start of the game as well, so you don't have to wait long, you will find various things trying to kill you in very creative ways indeed. Some enemies will focus on melee, some enemies will focus on shooting you, some enemies will focus on AoE stuff, like that guy launches grenades and stuff like that. Some enemies are a lot tougher, have a lot more HP, but are slower, and you know, so on and so forth. There's stuff like that happening pretty much all throughout the game, and it works. It's very fun, it's very satisfying killing them, and fighting them in general. Especially the entire shooting thing. I mean, you can see blood, guts, and torsos and stuff like that flying all over the screen. It's very satisfying indeed. I think at one point we paused for a couple of seconds to laugh, because someone's legs hit the actual camera. You know, like the actual camera up in the sky actually hit the camera. Practically, like, the entire screen was just somebody's legs. Which was just phenomenal. But yeah, it is a very satisfying shooter in terms of both what you have to shoot, in terms of targets, and what you have to shoot the targets with. Right. Let's see, I think this is where I go down. Yep. Okay, what else is there? Well... Did I make it out of this, or did I fail? I think I failed miserably. I might have failed. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to remember. It's been a couple of days since we recorded this. Right. What about the visuals and the graphics and the likes? It's a little bit thankless talking about this, because I mean, you can see, right? You don't need my expert opinion on this, which it's not an expert opinion, by the way. But yeah, you don't really need me to tell you much about this. But for what it's worth, it works, although I would like there to be a little bit more graphical fidelity, maybe. I mean, the entire style of the game, and the game's also pretty damn funny as well, because you're going to liberate the bugs, and there's, as you call down nukes and stuff like that, the soldiers start yelling freedom, and it's very sarcastic and allegorical and all that. It's a funny game as well. It has a few really good one-liners here and there, and the chat between soldiers is also quite entertaining and worth listening to. But yeah. Like, aesthetically, you can see the lava is a little bit lackluster there, the rocks are a little bit, I don't know. And the theme of meh sort of continues graphically throughout the game, but it works, you know, it's not that much of a negative, it really does work, so yeah, I suppose it's fine. At any rate, what about the difficulty? Well, there isn't a difficulty option, which does, I think... Well, it doesn't do the game any favors, right? Let's get that out of the way. Sure enough, as you play through the game, you know, future missions and stuff like that will get more difficult as you progress and all that. Fair enough, but the issue here being, some missions are really easy, some missions are really tough, and then you sort of get better at the game, and there is no really way of fine-tuning this. Just having a simple difficulty option where on very hard the enemies have slightly more health and do slightly more damage, or actually they do a lot of damage to begin with, so let's maybe just modify their health or whatever, make them a little bit more bullet spongy or whatever. Maybe that would go a long way, but I don't know. It's just like maybe I'll change my mind on this later. Then yeah, that's no getting out of that. Maybe I'll change my mind on this later as I progress through the game, but so far that seems like a feature I would like to see. Right. What about the objectives themselves? And here I have a little bit of a complaint to make, if I'm going to be brutally honest. The objectives are a little bit boring. Okay, in fairness, some aren't. Okay, some are very fun to do. I think one of the most fun is the black box one. Out of the more mundane ones, obviously, like I said, you're going to have boss fights, you're going to have important targets to take out, and so on and so forth. But those are few and far in between, right? A bigger portion of the game is you capturing this, activating a SAM site there, or activating a shuttle, or whatever. It's essentially just come here, press a few buttons, and hold the area, or go over there and, you know, stay in the circle and stuff like that. And, or go there and, yeah, like, activate the SAM site. All you do is you hack the terminal, the SAM site then starts firing up into the heavens, and that's about it. It works, but it's not great, right? I feel like the mission design could have used some upgrading. Maybe more, like, throw in the mix a few more linear missions, you know, where you can't choose a drop point. As you can see, by the way, you can choose a drop point, you can drop anywhere on the map. Maybe have a few more of those, where you sort of go through a level from start to finish, and there's, I don't know, maybe there's story, there's stuff like that. Maybe have a few more of those, rather than these, just go there and sit in the circle for 30 seconds and then get out of the planet, basically. It gets a little bit tedious, and it gets in the way of enjoyment sometimes of what is overall a very fun game and something very fun to play. But when you have to capture the same area, or at least the same general area for like the 11th time in this play session, it gets a little bit, you know. Could use some improvements that way, but that's stuff that it could easily be added by a DLC or stuff like that. So I hold out hope for something like that in the future. Bear in mind, my friend is using a laser shotgun. Now, the thing overheats, and if it does, you need to change the packs, but if you don't overheat it, you have unlimited ammo. I'm using machine guns, and Brown Bess muskets, but, you know, we'll leave the muskets for different times and different engagements. I'm using machine guns. As you can probably tell, they use bullets. You don't get a lot of ammunition, and it adds to the challenge, and it's actually really fun. Like, the resource management aspect is actually pretty damn fun, where you sort of need to cooperate with your teammate as to what you're going to use, what gear you're going to set out with, when and where you're going to call in the ammo drops and stuff like that. It's actually really fun, and it adds this, like, sort of whole new layer of depth and dynamic to the game, and it works really well. Especially given the fact that friendly fire is a thing. as in we have murdered one another on several occasions. At one particular time, I may have called an airstrike on his head, and another, he may have shotgunned me to death because I was standing in front of him, or rather between him and another bug or something along those lines. I think I hit him right there with the HMG, or no, it's an assault rifle, but whatever, yeah. So yeah, it adds a certain dynamic, and I should have gone and saved him. Matter of fact, I did, alright. Look at that. 4-digit IQ. Okay. How does the game control? On the controller, it's perfect. I mean, it's a twin-stick shooter. It's practically made for that. Mouse and keyboard, it works. What doesn't work all too well... well, okay, let's go with the positives first. The shooting aspect works really, really well. Okay? So you shoot stuff with your guns, and that's all fine and dandy, and it works really, really well. Throwing grenades and using abilities... less so. Less so. Then some sort of weaknesses of the mouse and keyboard, and then the fact that it's been sort of designed for a different, well, not really, well, yeah, I guess initially designed for a bit of a different control scheme in mind. It does show, right? So as a result, it's perfectly playable on mouse and keyboard. I mean, all the gameplay you're watching from Juggernaut #0 is on mouse and keyboard, so realistically, you know, it works. But like I said, I think Xbox controller, or a controller in general, works a little bit better. Alright. Well, what is there else to talk about? I sort of envisioned this entire thing to go on for quite a bit longer, but I suppose when I'm not focusing on gameplay, I cover things a lot quicker. That's, that's interesting. Alright. So, would I recommend it? Ooh, well, here's the thing. Do you have someone to play it with? And this is where co-op, local co-ops especially, becomes a thing that is really, really awesome. Now, I understand we live in the 21st century, and if you want to play with friends, you do it online. Because most of the time, they have a computer and they can buy the game too. Not always the case, though. First of all, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, and buying games costs, well, the aforementioned money. Local co-op is becoming sort of a thing of the past, more and more, especially because, well, there's not that many people simply playing local co-op. Simple fact, I suppose. There's a lot fewer playing local co-op now than they were in the past, and that's fair enough. However, it is really, really nice to see it still be a thing, you know? Because I do enjoy it quite a bit, and especially if if you're in sort of, this is going to be a little bit inside baseball, but if you have sort of the situation I do, where all your friends are broke, yourself included, because you're all uni students, and yeah, having a couple of friends over to you know, either bring their controller or you know, take turns or whatever, however you want to do it, is really, really fun when you play with friends like this, and you know, especially over, I don't know, a few drinks or you know, talking about something, and it's a good medium for socialization, if you will. However, playing this game alone, I'd recommend it a hell of a lot less. Now, it's not the fact that you know, co-op adds some brilliant new gameplay gimmicks or features or whatever. It's not. It's pretty much the same. There's just the two of you, and it can be entertaining in solo as well, and can be more difficult too, if you're looking for that. But here's the thing: it's so much better in co-op, generally speaking. It's always going to be subjective, but generally speaking, it's so much better in co-op. At least for most people, and yeah, it works. It really works well as a sort of medium for entertainment and socialization. Whereas, yeah, that was a brilliant move, Juggernaut. Well done. Whereas in solo, it just, you know, with that element removed, some of the more repetitive elements of the game become a little bit more apparent and a little bit more noticeable, and you start to pick on them a little bit more, I feel like. Alright, well, is there anything else to talk about? Obviously, the game does have online multiplayer as well. You can play online. I couldn't, well, I can, but I didn't have internet at the time for some odd reason. It's you know how it is when you're in uni. There's a constant state of disrepair and disaster. But yeah, it's you do obviously have online multiplayer, so you can find either random people online to play with, or play with friends that do have the money to buy the game. So there's, like I said, if you have someone to play it with, absolutely do I recommend it, yes. If you don't, less so. It depends on how much you enjoy the genre of top-down shooting, and if you feel a sort of nostalgia for certain games, and you know, so on and so forth. But a demo of sorts would help. If you can get your hands on something like that, or a trial, or try it out with a friend somewhere, that would help a lot as in terms of making your decision. But yeah, at any rate, I believe that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in terms of the game itself. I think I've covered damn near everything. So yeah, it's relatively straightforward and simple. What you see is what you get. You know, top-down shooting, aliens, and cyborgs and stuff like that. Story is fairly minimal. It does have one, but not really, right? And the story is cyborgs used to be humans, and then some evil AI turned them into cyborgs, and the bugs are, well, it's kind of like a Starship Troopers thing. You know, we're there to liberate the planet of bugs and secure a future for mankind and not insect kind, and all that. It's fairly straightforward and pretty allegorical and sarcastic in all its glory. And there's also like a really nice thing is when you go back into the sort of hub area, I suppose. It's not really the main menu, it's more like a hub area. You get like various pieces of news about certain things, and they change based on sort of which campaign you did and what you're sort of doing. But like one statistic showed me like the number of bullets fired by Hellraiser troopers in total so far. Another was like 95 point something fatalities of Hellraisers occur in this situation or whatever. It's a funny game. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Alright. At any rate, that'll be pretty much it. I'm going to let you see the rest of this mission in silence and listen to the game a little bit. But yeah, that'll be pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video, and want to stay tuned with the rest of the series that we produce on this channel. As of tonight, yes, in the evenings, I will be playing Cthulhu. Now, I'll be summoning Cthulhu, and then, you know, yeah, that's me getting shotgun, by the way. Where were we with this? Ah, yes. I will be playing Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu, the new horror game. God help me. Other than that, I have CK2 running, a running series in CK2, and I'm wrapping up a series in Warhammer Total War. You can check that out as well as far as some later videos or some newer videos are concerned. But yeah, that'll be pretty much it. Until next time, have fun, take care, bye-bye.